Hi, it's BB, and this is an invitation to do something called the Creative Hero versus the Heckler art prompt. And I'm going to tell you where it came from. I've noticed for me, I'm on the edge of a lot of changes. I'm starting a new online business, I'm really changing a lot of thoughts inside, and so I notice this resistance coming up and these sort of inner mean voices, the doubts and the fears and the what are you doing? Are you crazy? And what about taxes? And do you even really like sales? And, why don't you just go back to your comfortable job? And, you're not this enough, you're not that enough. And I think it's really interesting. And I call those voices the inner heckler. And I know I'm not the only one that has them. I think we all have them. And it's normal to have them. What's not normal is to let them take the driver's seat. And I just wanted to share something with you about the inner heckler in hopes that maybe it'll help you with yours. And we'll talk about what is the inner heckler, when does it come up, and what are just 3 things we can begin to do right now to get it out of the driver's seat so we continue to move forward with our heart and with the right path. So what is the inner heckler? The inner heckler is the bundle of mean, nasty voices we have inside of us, and those voices come from the things other people told us about who we are, the beliefs we took about ourselves based on situations. They come from the things that the world has told us about what you need to do to be successful and happy and valuable. And it's these bundle of voices that work on us and try to steer us away from the heart, right? And when does the heckler come up? Okay, the heckler comes up in your art studio when you start to paint and do the things you love, or write and dance, and it's that voice that's like, oh, you're not good enough, what are you doing, you shouldn't be doing this, you're not going to make a living out of it, you're wasting your time. It's those voices that come and they try to steer you away from doing those things that really are going to take you to another level inside. The heckler also comes when you're about to make progress. So sometimes it's a good sign when those voices are coming up. It means you're breaking a thought pattern, or you're about to take a leap into a new way of living, because the heckler always finds you right when you're on the cliff about to leap and fly. And, why is that? Really, the heckler is the voices of the subconscious. The subconscious likes everything status quo, as is, and as soon as you start to move past that comfort zone, the heckler starts to harass you. So as soon as you start to create a new thought pattern, the old one will come up really viciously to try to hold you back. And it's almost like the edges of our comfort zone are made with this sort of invisible electric energy of resistance. And so we have to pass through that, and we have to know that, it's normal for those voices to come up, and it's not anything to be afraid of, and we just have to learn to manage them and deal with them in the right way. So that's kind of been my journey lately, because as I make all these changes, those voices are inside of me, and so I'm learning to not let them stop me and to really stay true to the heart and the soul. So we are not made to live inside comfort zones. And let me say one thing really clearly. I don't believe that life is about being out there and being famous and having this many likes on Facebook and this many people following your blog. That's a different mode of being valuable. I feel we're not born to live small. And to me, that means we're not born to live in these boxes and thought patterns and beliefs that hold us away from our light and our vastness and our beauty. We're meant to live in that light. We're meant to live in that aliveness. And the creative journey and the spiritual journey is about moving away from these heckling voices and coming into a space where we feel our light, we feel our aliveness, we feel our goodness, we feel our value, we feel our connection with everybody in the world, and we feel our truth. It's ultimately about putting that light back in the driver's seat of our life. So we're going to have to deal with the heckler. That's the hero's journey. On the way to your aim and your light and your goal, The heckler has to come, and we have to figure out ways to navigate it. So I'll tell you a few things that have been helping me in hopes that they also help you. And then we'll get into the art journal prompt, which I've included in text also on this newsletter. But if you're watching this on YouTube or somewhere else, then I'll tell you about it at the end. One thing you can do to ease the frustration of the heckler is silence, right? A lot of stillness and quiet time. And whatever your way of doing that is, if your entry point is painting, if your entry point into silence is breathing, if your entry point is a nature walk, make time for stillness and just telling yourself, right now I'm letting go of everything. I'm letting go of the story, I'm letting go of the voices, I'm just being still. Because that silence builds a wall between ourselves and the heckler, a space where we can see that we're so much more than those voices. A space where we can begin to sense that light again. And in addition to silence, this is all step one, in addition to silence, do some things that make you feel really joyful in a very authentic way, that make you feel nourished. Like for me, I went and walked around barefoot in my yard and tended to my grow tower and, went on some nature walks, went to lunch with friends, went swimming, trying to do some things that really make the soul feel connected to others, that make you feel happy, and from a very genuine space, not from doing the things that you think are going to bring you happiness, like working more and doing all of this, and just giving into some moments of pure joy and nourishment for yourself. So silence and joy. Follow that compass of joy. Follow that compass of what brings you peace. That Rumi quote, when you feel a peaceful joy, you're near the truth. It's one of my favorite quotes. So do those things that put you in touch with that as the heckler is raising its voice. And tell yourself, I'm just not going to take it too seriously. I'm going to take a break from it, right? Like the heckler wants to engage you and make you think that you have to deal with it and listen to it and go a different direction because of what it's telling you, Step two, I heard this the other day, and I wish I remembered who said it. It was like watching a video and flashing, but she too was talking about our inner mean girl, and I was like, wow, that makes so much sense because that's what I had been experiencing myself. So I started listening to her, and she was saying to do this exercise, which I wanted to share with you because I did it. I'm going to have to find out who this was. But one is to let that voice speak loud and clear and just tell you everything it has to tell you. This isn't going to work. You're no good. You're not this enough. You're not that enough. Just let it rage and throw its tantrum. And then ask yourself, now, what does my wisdom have to say? Right? So after you let it rage, listen to everything it says. You can even write it down. What does my wisdom have to say right now about who I am and where I'm going? What does my wisdom have to share with me? And when I did that exercise, it was really powerful because my wisdom told me, look, all these decisions right now aren't the most important thing. The most important thing is to be in your light, to be in your connection, to rest in that stillness, to let it heal you, and then let the decisions come from that, So ask your wisdom whenever that voice is coming up. Let the heckler scream and let it out, and then go to your wisdom. What does my wisdom tell me, about my life? And sit in stillness and just listen for the answer. The third is to, write down what your heckler believes, because really, that's a part of you. So write down what it believes. Does it believe you're not good enough? Does it believe that this is a bad decision, this could happen, that could happen, just figure out what it believes, right? And I feel all the difficult emotions that come to us at different phases come to show us ultimately what we still believe. And those beliefs are not subtle, small things. Our beliefs will generate our reality and our situations. I have seen it so many times. It's amazing. If you believe something, watch and see how frequently that will become true in the situations of your life, right? And so we have to ultimately challenge those beliefs and change them. So when the emotions come up that are so strong, a lot of times they come up to show you, okay, this is something I'm believing, and the belief is causing me pain. So let me create a mantra or a simple exercise each day to do that's going to change that belief. And in the call playback, we went over a really simple kind of self-hypnosis, deep relaxation exercise to help you, make that affirmation a little bit more solid. But, let's say your heckler is telling you you're not good enough, which is what most of our hecklers love to tell us, right? So one mantra I gave myself all summer was that I'm healthy, happy, and successful because of who I am, not because of what I do. I'm healthy, happy, and successful because of who I am, not because of what I do. And I, created a visual to go with that and really felt it and experienced it, and did it only after I did a few deep breaths to really relax the soul, because those affirmations only go in when we're in a state of deep relaxation, right? There's a lot less resistance from that heckler. So those are a few simple things you can do to manage that voice. What you don't want to do is allow that voice to steer you, to believe it so much that you go back into your container, into your small way of living, into that mode of not taking risks. It's very normal for us all to have a heckler. What's not good is letting it get in the driver's seat. So these are a few simple things you can do to put your soul back in the driver's seat. One, I'll go over it one more time. Make time for stillness, whatever brings that to you. Do those things that make you genuinely happy from a heart space. Two, have a dialogue with a heckler. Let it out, let it rip, let it say everything it needs to say, and learn to recognize that pattern and that voice clearly, and then get quiet and ask your wisdom, what is the truth about who I am and what I'm doing? What do I need to know right now, right? And the third exercise is ask yourself, what does your heckler believe about you? And create a beautiful mantra that is the opposite of that. And another one of the tricks to creating a beautiful mantra, in addition to creating it in a quiet space, is make sure you feel it in the heart, right? Make sure it feels really good to you in the heart. If it doesn't, don't do it. Create a thought that feels really nice to you. It's kind of like an art form. You have to play with a little bit and explore before you find the right one. And the art journal prompt today is written below, but for those of you who may not be able to see the text, the exercise is, first of all, in this art journal, invite yourself to let go of wanting your pages to look pretty, to even look good. Just let that go. Let that intention go. Free yourself from that. And what you're going to do is either have a page that's divided in two, or have a journal spread where you have two different pages. On page one, paint the colors of your heckler, right? And then express your heckler in shapes. Use a charcoal pencil or a pen or paint and express your heckler in wild shapes, right? And then write down all the things your heckler tells you about yourself. Get to know what that voice is, so that when it comes up, you're like, oh, I know that you're not allowed to get in the driver's seat. But go ahead, write that down. And then on the other page, after you're done with the heckler, paint the colors of your inner wisdom, and then sit in stillness before you do the next part and ask, what does that look like in shapes? If I had to express my inner wisdom in shapes, what would it be? Write those shapes down. And then get quiet and ask that question again, what does my inner wisdom really tell me about who I am and what my life is about? And write those voices down, right? And then sit with them, observe, be still, and see what your page has to say to you, okay? So also get back with me and let me know how your art journal creation went, and enjoy just letting go in this one page of the pressure of having to have it look good. Just express shapes, colors, words. No one has to see this. You can share it if you want, but you don't have to, okay? So may you be the hero over your heckler, and may you stay in the driver's seat with your soul and move forward on your life. Bye-bye.